everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. With it being my daughter's birthday, with Dragon Man at home on school break, it feels like a public holiday. And when I saw the garbage truck and the roadworks truck passing the house, I could not understand it. Why would they be working on a public holiday? And then it hit me. It is just a normal working day for everybody else. Oh well, as I often work 6 to 7 days per week, one day is like the other. So why it felt different, I don't know. I guess it is the smell of things baking in the oven and music playing in the house, which is actually making the difference. Dragon Man and his mother are baking cake for us. I think I will only have a slim slice because Dragon Man properly blasted it with icing sugar. I can feel my hair raise just looking at the sweetness. Guys, I do not know what to talk about today because I have two very serious topics to discuss. And which one should I address first? Okay, let's do this first, and I'm going to keep it relatively short because I first want to see what the majority of you think before I continue and tell you where I am at on this particular subject. Okay, now, strictly speaking, there are a few routes to surrogacy. You can have donor eggs and donor male gametes. You can have donor eggs and the bio dad's gametes. You can have bio mom's eggs and bio dad's gametes. You can have bio mom's eggs and donor male gametes. Or you can have the bio mom also being the surrogate and the bio dad's gametes, or then donor gametes. In many, I would say most of the United States states, it is not allowed for the surrogate to also be the biological mother, although it is the easiest way to a pregnancy. However, because of the complications which may arise from such a scenario, the law in most states does not allow it. And thus, if a donor egg is needed, a couple is often forced to select a donor who is not the surrogate. So, okay, let's look at the American states and who does what, okay? Just a quick note, to prevent arguments in the comment section, in the United States, a surrogacy scenario where the surrogate is also the biological mother, it is termed a traditional surrogacy. And a scenario where either the future mother or a donor is the bio mom is called a gestational surrogacy. So the American states which do not allow traditional surrogacy are California, Nevada, Illinois, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New York, Oregon, Florida, Georgia, Arizona, Iowa, Missouri. States where traditional surrogacy is allowed are Idaho, Colorado, Washington, Michigan, Louisiana. It does not list Massachusetts, so I went and looked it up individually. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There is conflicting information. On one website, it is said that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts only recognizes and allows gestational surrogacy. But on the official website of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, it appears that Massachusetts does allow traditional surrogacy, as right in the introduction, it clearly states, laws and cases on surrogate parents, including both traditional surrogates who use their own egg and carry a baby for another, and gestational surrogates who carry a baby created from the egg of another woman. What is, however, a plus point of Massachusetts as location for surrogacy is that, number one, that there is constant attention and reform in family law, and there was new laws and amendments in parentage laws which took effect on the 1st of January 2025. Now, although it was allowed and preferred, it is now law in Massachusetts that, number one, surrogacy agreements are now enforceable in the state. Number two, and this is the really important one, intended parents are recognized as legal parents immediately upon the birth of a child in the case of a gestational surrogacy. There is, however, a tiny difference between a gestational and traditional surrogacy when it comes to the law. Traditional surrogacies are treated similar to a normal adoption, where paperwork is completed prior to birth, and in a traditional surrogacy, the baby can be placed with the intended parents immediately, but the so-called adoption will only be concluded after 4 days after the birth, and if the intended father is not related to the child, both intended parents need to complete adoption papers. Now, let's talk about the United Kingdom. One thing I am assuming is that if Harry and Meghan used surrogacy, number one, they wanted to make sure that the surrogate handed the baby over when the time came. And number two, they would want to make sure they can never be trapped in something illegal. And number three, that whatever happened would stay private, and therefore I am assuming that as far as possible they had a lawyer involved in a couple of ironclad agreements and contracts. And for that reason, I think surrogacy laws in the United Kingdom would have benefited Harry and Meghan on the one hand, and would have been detrimental to them on the other hand. In the United Kingdom, both traditional and gestational surrogacy are legal, and surrogates in the United Kingdom are only allowed to be reimbursed for their expenses and not to profit from the arrangements. But let me say this, there are many ways around this law. I know of couples who went through surrogacy in the United Kingdom because of some brilliant medical treatments and some star doctors' fantastic success rate. But instead of paying the surrogate, they gift her, say, a motor car, or they buy her a flat or pay off her home, etc. But never mind. The one negative in United Kingdom surrogacy law is that surrogacy is legal, but surrogacy agreements are not yet legally enforceable or binding. Intended parents must apply for a parental order to become the child's legal parents, and which can only be done after the child's birth. So, my dears, let us assume that Harry and Meghan did use a surrogate either for one or both children. Which country would they have preferred to arrange the surrogacy in? The United States or the United Kingdom? Okay, now that was question number one. Now for the second question. Okay, now remember, it does not matter which country you are in. If you are entering such a transaction and in a legal manner, the surrogacy agreement will endeavour to protect both parties. In today's atmosphere, there are lawyers who specialize in surrogacy, adoption, and other family matters. They are experts in their country and their state's laws. But I've gone and dug deep, 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 going to the family courts of a few United States, and surprisingly, and regardless of all these ironclad surrogacy agreements, there are more surrogacy cases and hearings in the courts than I expected. As a matter of fact, I checked records for a court in Boston, and there were a number of cases since 1998. And indeed, there was one in June 2021, but it definitely did not involve Lily. It was about a baby boy. So we don't need to go down that route yet. So my second question: in light of the above and everything else we have learned, do you think Harry and Meghan would have preferred to make use of an agency and find a willing stranger to birth one or both of their children? Or do you think Harry and Meghan would have preferred to use somebody either one of them or both of them knew, or maybe even someone they and maybe the king and the royal family knew? Okay, now please, guys, I want you to carefully think through all of this and tell me what you think. Remember, question 1 is, what do you think? Did Harry and Meghan choose their surrogacy and or their surrogate from the United States or the United Kingdom? Question 2, do you think Harry and Meghan preferred a stranger to be their surrogate, or do you think they would have preferred someone they knew? I'll read as many replies as I can, and then I'll do a video telling you exactly why I asked these questions. Okay, guys, I'll be loading 2 videos, one being yesterday's video and then today's video, and then I'll come back to your replies. So until we meet again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.